Good afternoon, everyone. This is August 14th, 2025, and we are at the Town of Chatham Zoning Board of Appeals meeting pursuant to Governor Healy's March 28th, 2025 signing of the Acts of 2025 extending certain COVID measures adopted during the state of emergency until June 30th, 2027. This meeting of the Chatham Zoning Board of Appeals is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder, persons who would like to listen to this meeting in progress, please call 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 659-950-784 # or join the meeting through the available link on the town's website. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, despite our best effort, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a recording of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. In accordance with town policy, the public can speak to any issue, hearing, or business item on the agenda during the meeting when recognized by the chair. I'd like to just take this time to remind everybody to shut off all gadgets that make any noise whatsoever, and please don't speak unless and until you're recognized by the chair, and then you're standing at the mic. The way we conduct the proceedings are as follows. We have a roll call of all board members. We ask that anybody participating online, well, actually by phone, just please make yourself known, however you can do that. Hearing notice is read by staff, Sarah Clark on my right, and then you or your representative will present the appeal or application. Anyone in favor will have up to 5 minutes to speak. The chair, I will read all letters received by the board. After that, anybody who has a question or has a problem with the application, wants to speak against it, that would be the time to do that, up to 5 minutes as well. And then the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut any testimony. Members will have questions, we'll hear further information, close the public hearing, and deliberate. At that point, deliberations are closed to the public unless somebody on the board wants to ask you a question, and then we will waive the rules. We will then deliberate and vote on the appeal or application. All votes are taken by roll call, and at the end of the meeting, we will close via a verbal confirmation and note the time of adjournment. In the town, in the state of Massachusetts, you need 4 out of 5 votes in order to prevail. Voting today will be David Veach, David Nixon, myself, Randy Potash, Virginia Fenwick, and Paul Semple for the very beginning, and then next in line, because Paul is going to have to depart, Ed Acton will be then voting. Okay, at this point, roll call vote of all board members, and we'll start with David Veach.
David H. Veach, and I approve this format.
Ed Acton, I approve.
David S. Nixon, I approve.
Lee Hovey, I approve.
Stephen D. DeBoer, and I approve.
Virginia Fenwick, I approve.
Paul C. Semple, I approve.
And Randy Potash, I also approve of this form of meeting. And next we have, Paul, I think we have one set of minutes from July 10th, 2025.
I believe we do. I'll move to approve the minutes for July 10, 2025 as published.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
Yes.
Yeah, oh yes, please, Ms. Fenwick. Yep.
On July 10th, I don't see that Lee Hovey is listed here on the list of roll call, but she was attending that meeting.
Okay.
Lee should be added. And then also, I believe that the approval of the minutes right below that, it lists Steve DeBoer as approving those minutes. It should be Ed.
Okay, so it should be Ed Acton approving?
Not Steve. It should be Ed.
Yeah, it should be Ed approving.
Yep.
Okay.
For June 5th.
Well, so with that, can we now get a roll call vote? Thank you, Madam Clerk.
I will second and vote yes.
Ed votes yes.
Lee?
Lee votes yes.
Paul votes yes.
Ginny votes yes.
Okay, that would be that. Next, the first application we have is simply going to be opening a hearing and continuing it, and we'll talk more about that in a moment, but I'm going to let Sarah read the advertisement.
Application number 25-077, Penrose LLC, 15 Milk Street, 16th floor, Boston, Mass. 02109. The property is owned by the Town of Chatham, located at 0 Meeting House Road, also shown on the Town of Chatham's Assessor's Map 4E, Block 11A, Lot AB. The applicants are requesting the grant of a comprehensive permit under Mass General Law, Chapter 40B, Sections 20 through 23, and 760 CMR 56, for the construction of 42 dwelling units in 8 structures. The applicants are requesting the grant of various waivers from regulations promulgated by the Chatham zoning bylaw, the Chatham Water and Sewer Department, and other local regulations. The property contains 3.57 acres in the R60 zoning district. Please note that this hearing will be opened without testimony presented and continued.
Thank you. So before we continue this, I'm going to ask counsel a question for the benefit of the public. Welcome, Attorney Talaman.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. So can you, for the benefit of the public, can you tell us what safe harbor means? And then part 2, does the town qualify for any protection under safe harbor?
Okay, so safe harbor under 40B could be a number of things. The statute provides a few safe harbors, and then the regulations provide a few additional safe harbors. A safe harbor, the primary safe harbor that we hear of, or let me back up a little bit. A safe harbor is a means by which the town can be relieved of the normal obligations under 40B, which are generally more deferential to a developer. And where if a town has a safe harbor, they can condition or deny a project with impunity. The primary safe harbor that we know of through the statute is reaching 10% affordable housing. So if your town has 10% affordable housing, you don't have to entertain an approval. If you don't want to, you can. It's permissive, but you don't have to of a 40B project. There are a few others in the statute for safe harbor. Those include an area, if your town already has affordable housing comprising a certain amount of acreage in your town, then that is a safe harbor as well. The regulations provide a number of other safe harbors, and those include whether or not a project under 40B is less than a year following a project that was not under 40B on the same site. There are other safe harbors relating to progress towards affordable housing, how much progress you make. If you have a housing production plan and you get 0.5% increase in your affordable housing, then you have a safe harbor. If you don't have a housing production plan, you have to make much more progress than that. And then there's a few others, large projects. A smaller town doesn't have to entertain projects that are excessive in size. So there's a few others. The process for safe harbor is that if someone presents a safe harbor, or if the town feels it has a safe harbor under the current regulations, and there's a proposed change to these regulations, but under the current regulations, you would have to, within 15 days of opening the hearing, determine that you have a safe harbor. You don't have to then make a decision on the project, but you have to declare that you have that safe harbor, and that sits in the background while you consider the project. As to Chatham itself, I am not aware of any safe harbor that the town has, particularly with respect to reaching either progress or the actual 10% of affordable housing, nor am I aware of any other circumstance involving any of the projects currently before the Chatham Zoning Board of Appeals that would give rights under the large project or the related project safe harbor regulations.
Okay, well, thank you. So just to be clear for the public, it's great that we have another application underway, but it's not enough to provide any safe harbor. So we are still squarely within the rules of 40B.
Right, and I should add, Randy, that if in fact the first project that we have before us resulted in a safe harbor through progress towards one of our required minimums, we could use that, but if someone applies for a 40B before that decision is done, then we can't use it. So you can't use it retroactively. So there are two projects now in the queue. So that kind of safe harbor based on the first project wouldn't be available to the town.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And with that, can I get a motion, Paul, to continue this till September 4th?
I'll move to continue this matter to September 4, 2025.
Thank you.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
Mr. Nixon?
I vote yes.
Ginny?
Ginny votes yes.
All votes yes.
As do I. Thank you very much, and thank you, council. And so anyone interested in this particular project, we'll see you on September 4th. All right, next, we're back to our regularly scheduled meeting, 25-055. Sarah?
Application number 25-055, Karen Losococo, care of William G. Litchfield Esquire, 330 Orleans Road, North Chatham, Mass. 02650. Owner of property located at 20 L Street, also shown on the Town of Chatham's Assessor's Map 10F, Block 15, Lot R9. The applicant seeks to construct an elevated stairway under Section 4A3A of the Protective Bylaw. The lot contains 28,100 square feet in the R20 zoning district. A special permit is required under Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 9 and Section 8D2B of the Protective Bylaw.
Attorney Litchfield, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chairman. Pardon me, members of the board. Excuse me, Bill Litchfield here on behalf of the applicant. There will be some minor changes to these plans, changing the height of the risers. That will accordingly cause the stairs to be longer than shown on the original plan. That's going to be reviewed by Conservation in addition, so we would ask the board's indulgence in allowing this matter to be continued to October 9, a date suggested by Sarah.
Okay, any discussion? No, so, Ginny, can I have a motion to continue 25-055 until October 9th?
Yes, I move to approve the request for continuance to October 9th, 2025.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
I agree.
Ginny?
I approve.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ed, we need you to chime in.
I approve.
Okay, and Ginny?
I approve.
As do I. That's unanimous.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have 25-056. Sarah?
Application number 25-056, Mark D. Perlman Revocable Trust, care of William G. Litchfield Esquire, 330 Orleans Road, North Chatham, Mass. 02650. Owner of property located at 42 Bayview Street, also shown on the Town of Chatham's Assessor's Map 10D, Block 72, Lot D45. The applicant seeks to enlarge, extend, or change a conforming dwelling in a non-conforming lot via the demolition of the existing dwelling and the construction of a new dwelling. The proposed dwelling will comply with all bulk dimensional requirements of the bylaw, but is considered a substantial alteration, and under the second except clause of Section 6 of Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, such substantial alteration requires the grant of a special permit. The existing building coverage is 1,160 square feet, 6.5%, and the proposed building coverage is 2,292 square feet, 12.9%, where 15% is the maximum allowed. The lot is non-conforming, and then it contains 17,821 square feet, where 20,000 square feet is required in the R20 zoning district. A special permit is required under Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 6, and Section 5B of the Protective Bylaw.
Welcome back, Attorney Litchfield.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Bill Litchfield. We would respectfully ask the board allow this matter to be continued until November 6th, a date suggested by Sarah. The applicant has determined in talking with his neighbors that some plans, some changes to the plans would be in order. So we will be meeting actually tomorrow with our design team and hope to present you with plans which we think will be better received. So we'd ask the matter be continued to November 6th.
Thank you. Ginny, can we have a motion to continue to November 6th? You can say so moved.
So moved.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
I vote yes. Oh, sorry, Ed.
That's okay, yeah.
Ed votes yes. I vote yes.
And Ginny? As do I.
Thank
It's
you.
unanimous. Okay. Next, we actually have a hearing on 25-052.
Application number 25-052, Hogan Family Trust, Michael J. Hogan and Joanne Hogan trustees, care of William G. Litchfield Esquire, 330 Orleans Road, North Chatham, Mass. 02650. Owners of property located at 64 Bucks Creek Road, also shown on the Town of Chatham's Assessor's Map 8C, Block 38, Lot S103. The applicant proposes to change, alter, or expand a nonconforming dwelling on a nonconforming lot via the construction of additions. The existing dwelling is nonconforming, and it is located 11.8 feet from the westerly abutter where a 15-foot setback is required. The proposed additions will comply with all bulk and dimensional requirements of the bylaw, but it's considered a substantial alteration, and under the second except clause of Section 6 of Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, such substantial alteration requires the grant of a special permit. The existing building coverage is 1,180 square feet, 9.98%, and the proposed building coverage is 1,769 square feet, 14.86%, where 15% is the maximum allowed. The lot is nonconforming, and then it contains 11,903 square feet, where 20,000 square feet is, is required in the R20 zoning district. A special permit is required under Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 6, and Section 5B of the protected bylaw.
Attorney Litchfield.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Bill Litchfield here on behalf of Mike and Joanne Hogan, who are here in regard to 64 Bucks Creek down in Harding's Beach Hills. The Hogans have owned this property for 25 years, and they are thinking about making more of a more year-round or retirement use of it, and to allow them to entertain a growing family in the next generation and so forth, and to host holiday gatherings. And they'd like to make some internal reconfiguration of the house, and also, as you know from having been out there, it now has a one-car garage under. They would like to have a two-car garage, and in working with their design team, maybe Sarah could put up the plans, working with their design team, they have designed something that meets all of the requirements of the bylaw. As shown there on the left at the top, the existing house, and the current garage, as you know from your site visits, you go in and under. We're proposing to relocate the driveway as shown there on the top right. We're proposing to relocate the driveway. It'll still be a garage under, and there will be internal reconfiguration of the floor plan so that we're not adding any additional bedrooms. So that is what is proposed. What you will see in one sense is the top view, but given the vegetation, particularly along the right-hand side, that very, very tall row of trees, you're not going to see much at all. Moreover, we are set far back from the street. The current zoning bylaw requires 25 feet, and we're 31, plus the additional unpaved area, which is part of the town layout. So we're far back from the street. So given that you have a lengthy agenda, I'll go into the criteria. As shown there in the site plan, our sole nonconformity other than lot size, and that's found throughout Harding's Beach Hills, is that the deck on the northwest side is too close under current zoning to the lot line. What is proposed, however, will comply with all requirements of the bylaw. It is what is, as you know, called a Bjorkland hearing. So as to adequacy of site, as I said, is true of almost all of the lots in Harding's Beach Hills. The lot is non-conforming. Coverage at present is lower than that of many houses, and the sole dimensional nonconformity is that deck, We conform to the current street setback, and I think you can find the site at present to be completely adequate for residential use. And it will remain adequate based upon your approval of the special permit for construction of a more functional two-car garage with living space above, which again meets all height, setback, and coverage requirements of the bylaw. That is, it complies completely with current zoning. As to compatibility of size, on the third page, I have the comparables. We have at present a typical pre-zoning lot with a relatively small footprint. It's in the mid-range of gross floor area and living area for those houses not built on slabs. It has considerably more gross floor area because it has a full basement, unlike some houses in the neighborhood. Obviously, coverage increases if you approve the special permit, as I trust that you will, but it is below the maximum, and it remains consistent with the neighborhood. The gross floor area and the living area increase, but still lower than some, for instance, the house directly across the street, and it will remain compatible even without using those further along on Bucks Creek Road, which are, as you know, much, much larger. I know this is the neighborhood which engendered discussion of what constitutes a neighborhood, but I only use the very close by abutters. However, there are much larger houses elsewhere in this neighborhood. As to the extent of increase in nonconformity, again, the sole nonconformity aside from lot size is the westerly sideline for the deck, and there is no increase in nonconformity. Rather, this is totally conforming. The addition is 18 feet from the sideline, where 15 feet is required, and approximately 32 feet from the street, and actually further from the pavement, where only 25 feet is required. As to suitability of the site has been suitable for the existing house since it was built. There are no wetlands or environmental issues, and I think the site is suitable for the garage on the lower side of the lot. It's without impact on natural environment, and again, as you know from having gone out there, there is very significant vegetative screening along the side property line. As to scale, sighting, mass views, and vistas, the existing structure is a simple full cape with a partial doghouse dormer set far from the road with a garage under. Given the location and the vegetation, it has a very limited at present impact on neighborhood views and vistas, and I think that will continue. There will be a minimal change to the facade by putting the small covered entryway on the front of the house, but there's certainly no substantial detriment from that or from the garage with an appropriate design which mirrors that of the existing house. Plainly, the house is larger, else we wouldn't be here, but it's set back from the road, and in keeping with surrounding properties, there are no views or vistas involved. As to compatibility of use, it will remain a residential use, and adequacy of water and sewer. We have town water and a Title V for 3 bedrooms. The health agent has reviewed the plans, has determined that the reconfiguration of the plans, or the floor plans is sufficient, and there is no additional bedroom being added. Won't have any impact on traffic flow and safety, although I suppose relocating the driveway a little bit to the further up the hill may help a little bit. There's no noise and litter, and all utilities are there. So as you know, the question for you to decide is whether the proposed construction of the small entryway on the front and the garage with living space above, with a significantly greater utility for the Hogan family while meeting all current zoning requirements, is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the current structure on a non-conforming lot. In providing for a functional two-car garage as shown there, the proposal meets all zoning requirements, and the topography of the lot lends itself to this location and to the design, which again is set far from the street and behind the vegetative screen to the right-hand side or downhill. No additional bedrooms are being created. The applicants, of course, understand and anticipate the standard conditions would be imposed, such as a limit on seasonal construction. They hope to, in answer to a question you haven't yet asked, they hope to start this fall and be done by the spring. So in light of the criteria and the plans in this location, I think that you can find the proposed changes are not substantially more detrimental. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody here in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this application? Yes, sir, please go ahead up to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Richard Pluffner. We live at 52 Bucks Creek Road, and we fully support this endeavor.
Is that your phone going off? No, good. Okay, keep going.
That's it?
Oh,
We're just-
okay,
We're
yeah,
just in
great.
support of it, and we are the abutters.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Is there anybody else here or on Microsoft Teams that wishes to speak in favor of this particular application? No? No? And that's that? Okay, so I will read the correspondences. There are two. First one's from our health agent, received on August 12, 2025. And as stated before, she has no concerns about the addition, and this will remain a 3-bedroom dwelling and not encroach on the septic system. That's from Judith Giorgio. Then we have a note from Donna and Robert Shea of 92 Pine Ridge Road. They also are writing in favor of this application. They are pleased that the addition is planned and the size and scope of the project, in their opinion, is in keeping with other properties and will be an asset to the neighborhood, and they ask that we approve it. Is there anybody here or online that wishes to speak against this application or has a specific question? Yes, sir. You know the drill, and I see the phone in your hand, so.
Brian Phillips, 374 Orleans Road. Is the new building going to be in the, violating the setback? The 11 feet to the abutter?
I believe everything is within,
Is the new building's going?
yeah, that was stated earlier, and also everything is online, just so you know, because I know you enjoy coming to our meetings.
Is, yeah, because I have nothing better to do. Is he the abutter that's next to?
Who is he?
Sorry, Mr. Is Mr. Pleffner the abutter next, that's within the 11 foot?
Okay, no, Mr. Pleffner, we'd love to hear from you, but if you want to speak, you'd have to come to the mic. But we'll just, we'll let Mr. Litchfield answer that.
If I could, Mr. Pluffner is downhill, he's at number 52, we are 64, he's behind the green vegetation. We are not 11 feet as shown there, we are 18 feet where 15 feet is required. The only nonconformity is on the opposite side of the house where the pre-existing nonconforming deck is 11.8 feet from the house. This project complies with all requirements of the zoning bylaw.
Thank you. Any other questions?
That was my question, thanks.
All right, yes, thank you for coming. Anybody else have a question or wishes to speak against? Feel free. No? No one online either? Very good. Questions from the board? David Veach.
I have no questions.
Ed.
No questions.
Mr. Nixon.
No questions.
And Lee.
No questions.
Steve.
Steve has no questions.
Jenny.
One very small reconciliation question. On the ad that goes into the paper, it said that the existing gross floor area was 2,638. On your very helpful sheet that you show 3,683. Is it just because the foundation is included in your number and it's done included here?
I took the GFA application from, numbers in the application from the plans that were submitted by the designer. When I looked at it, you know how strongly I feel about the illusory nature of the gross floor area, but I corrected it in the chart to reflect the fact that there is a basement.
Okay, thank you.
And I really like those pines. Do you happen to know the name of those?
They may be junipers.
Juniper?
I don't think they're arborvitae.
Okay, oh, very good. Very good.
They're senior variety arborvitae.
It must take a while to get that large. All right, very good. So, Ginny, can we close the public hearing and move into deliberations?
Yes, I move to
Close the public hearing and
close the
move into
public hearing and move to
There we
deliberations.
go.
Dave each seconds and votes in favor.
Ed?
Ed votes yes.
Yes.
Ginny?
Jenny votes yes.
Yeah, we have all these 4 votes coming from this end, so it's a little confusing. So yes, now we've done that. So now we'll go into deliberations, as discussed. Lee, deliberate.
I will deliberate. Well, I think this is a good project. It meets our criteria, and it's a very good plan for getting a primary bedroom on the first floor.
Steve?
Meets all our criteria, and it's not at all detrimental to the neighbors.
And Ginny?
I agree with my colleagues. I think it's a great project, and it's not substantially more detrimental.
And Mr. Veach?
As do I.
Ed?
I certainly agree with my colleagues.
Mr. Nixon?
I agree.
You agree too, as do I. So I guess we need the usual terms and conditions. And would you like to read those, Ginny?
Yeah, so would you be okay with those, the normal conditions?
They would be fine, Ms. Simple.
So,
So you move to approve based on the following conditions,
yes, I
right?
move to approve this application, number 25052, on the following conditions: that all construction activity and vehicles shall be contained on-site or at a neighboring property with the permission of the property owner, and between June 30th and Labor Day, no exterior construction will be allowed, no work permitted on weekends, and construction activity between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. only.
Okay.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
Ed votes yes.
Nixon?
Yes.
Ginny?
Yes.
As do I. It's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Usually Paul Semple does the motion, so that's why we're making it through quite nicely today. All right, next I think we're going to 25-058, 18 Pine Drive.
Application number 25-058, Deborah McDonald and Kimberly Bolus, care of James M. Norcross Esquire, P.O. Box 707, Chatham, Mass. 02633. Owners of property located at 18 Pine Drive, also shown on the Town of Chatham's Assessor's Map 6C, Block 51, Lot J11. The applicant seeks to modify special permit number 23-122 granted on January 25th, 2024, which allowed for the demolition of the existing dwelling and the construction of a new dwelling. The applicant now seeks to modify this special permit to allow for an increase in building coverage. The approved building coverage was 1,012 square feet, 14.2%, and the constructed building coverage was 1,031 square feet, 14.5%, where 15% is the maximum allowed. Also proposed is the relocation of the existing shed and exterior mechanical system appliances. The existing shed is non-conforming in that it is located 16 feet from the Coastal Conservancy District. The relocated shed will be non-conforming in that it will be located 25 feet from the Coastal Conservancy District where a 50-foot setback is required. The approved exterior mechanical system appliances were non-conforming, located 36 feet from the Coastal Conservancy District. The relocated exterior mechanical system appliances will be non-conforming, located 36 feet from the Coastal Conservancy District where a 50-foot setback is required. The lot is non-conforming and that contains 7,125 square feet where 20,000 square feet is required in the R20 zoning district. A special permit is required under Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Sections 6 and 14, and Sections 5B and 8D, 2B of the protected bylaw.
Welcome, Attorney Norcross. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Jamie Norcross representing Kimberly Bolus. As Sarah stated, this is an application to modify a special permit that was issued by this board back in January of 2024. And so the main part of the application is with regard to the building coverage. The approved building coverage was 1,012 square feet. The actual building coverage as built, if you've been out to the site, which I'm sure you are, or excuse me, sure you have, is 1,031 square feet, so an increase of 19 square feet, still below the 15% maximum allowed, but more than what was approved on the special permit that was granted back in January of 2024. So I guess the natural question is what caused the addition? So this was a modular home, and the manufacturer constructed it, as it's been explained to me, using rigid foam insulation, which is very energy efficient, but also adds a couple inches to the exterior of the building. And so the manufacturer, when they provided the building plans that were given to my clients, that were then given to David Clark, did not show that additional couple inches along the exterior. So if you take those 2 inches and you wrap it around the entire envelope of the building, you come up with the additional 19 square feet. So unfortunately, David did not have that information in order to provide an accurate site plan that would have shown the actual square footage of the structure that was built. The other two items proposed by the application today is the relocation of the shed that you see on the east side of the property on the plan in front of you is to move that to the west side. It will comply with the abutter setbacks. Because of the new bylaw amendment that was adopted by town meeting 2025, we are now non-conforming relative to the Conservancy District. So that's the reason why that requires a special permit, whereas before you could just locate in that spot by right. And the reason for that change, when my clients met with the company for the shed, where it's shown on the, it's not obviously there now if you go out to the property, but where it's shown on the plan as existing is near where the patio is, and given the proximity, the contractor, the shed company felt that locating on the other side was the best place for it on the property. With respect to the mechanicals, essentially they're flip-flopping them with the rent station. So the rent station was gonna be in the middle of the home, and then the mechanicals, as you see in the darker color, are gonna be on the right-hand side. The proposed mechanicals would be in green, so on the left-hand side, and the rent station would then go behind that little corner of the building further to the east. And again, that was essentially a field change. It's not constructed yet, but something that seemed to make the most sense for them in terms of privacy and use of the rent station going forward. So obviously, especially with respect to the building coverage difference, nobody likes to see that. It's a challenge for everyone, but in terms of, I don't think it's visible to the eye, and I certainly don't think it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. I did want to touch on briefly, I know there's a couple of letters from neighbors, and it certainly has not been a smooth construction process, as I'm sure you've gathered from those letters, and my clients don't disagree with that. For what it's worth, it's been pretty difficult for them as well. The project started with a modular home, which in theory should be quicker. It started in September. They were told to be done by April. Here we are in August, and obviously it's still not done. If there is good news, it's the remaining work is interior to the home and then the landscaping, so the heavy machinery and the larger truck should not be needed on site anymore, should be smaller vehicles. And I think there is light at the end of the tunnel that the project will be done soon, which is what my clients want, to just get it done as quickly as possible. They do feel badly for the disruption it's caused to the neighborhood. Their families own this property for many years, and they certainly don't want to create headaches for their neighbors, and they want to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. So that would be our presentation, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody here on Microsoft Teams that wishes to speak in favor of this application? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I will read the correspondences. There are 3. First, we have our health agent's note from August 12, 2025. Judith Giorgio tells us she has no concerns about the modification to the special permit for this application. Then we have a note from Brett and Patty Zetcher, and they say that they will be attending the meeting on 8/12/2025. Maybe they meant today. Today is not 8/12, no. We wanted to list our concerns in writing. After a review of application 25-058 at the Community Development Department, we have the following concerns and questions regarding 18 Pine Drive. This is by no means saying that we are against any of the improvements that have been done. We are trying to be good neighbors and respect the opportunity to improve their property and the neighborhood. It's just that we have ongoing concerns. Over the course of this construction, we have not complained about multiple concerns, i.e. blocking of the road with workers, deliveries, in parentheses, our daughter's family needed to park at the beach parking lot several times during this construction, close parentheses, trash on their site and blowing over to our lot, parking in several residents' driveways, and workers being there at odd hours. 1, moving existing shed, which is not there, from the right-hand side as noted on both approved building and landscape mitigation plans to within 5 feet 6 inches from our line on the left-hand side, possibly impeding our current view of the marsh water Bucks Creek. 2, also note on the landscape mitigation plan approved that 3 to 6 foot eastern red cedars will grow 1 foot a year as high as to mature 40 to 50 feet on or nearby our boundary line, which again would have a negative impact on our view of Bucks Creek. Is there going to be an outside shower? If one is not indicated on the new revised plan, and where will that be? Also, AC generator units have been moved on the revised plan with a designated alcove near existing patio to near bulkhead, again impeding our sight line to Bucks Creek. Lastly, the placement of the porta potty which is located on the corner of their property, very close to our driveway, is within direct view from inside our home and our deck. It has also become a rest stop of sorts to the various renters farther down on Pine Drive, along with delivery drivers. Again, please note that we have no problem with the construction at all, but are concerned with the statements that Attorney Norcross made in the initial application. Quote, Attorney Norcross concluded that there will be no negative impact on natural environment, resident use, views or vistas, including the streetscape, noise, litter, sewerage, traffic flow, and safety or utilities. Sincerely, Brett and Patty Zetcher, 28 Pine Drive, Chatham. Next, we have a note from Anthony and Kathleen Gazzola, and that was received on August 6, 2025. After careful review of application 25-058, our experience during the construction, we have following concerns. Entire height of the landscaping and the potential for flooding easterly and downward towards Ridgeville Road. Possible ramifications. 1, causing water and flood damage to abutting neighbors on Pine and Stoughton Drives. 2, further damage and denudement of Pine Drive, which has suffered extensively due to the entire construction project. Questions on whom is responsible for the road repair. In addition of the retaining wall featured on the landscape and mitigation plan on the final as-built site plan. Please note, we have no problem with the request as presented during the appeal 25-058. Our concern is the impact on the construction process on our property. Damage has occurred and what we may face. Thank you for your consideration on this matter. Again, that's Anthony and Kathleen Gazzola, 6 Pine Drive. Okay, is there anybody here or on Microsoft Teams that wishes to speak against this application or has a question? Yes, sir, please go to the mic.
Brian Phillips, what's the difference between a coastal conservancy district and a flood zone?
You're gonna have to go to an encyclopedia for that, but
All right, I guess okay, can I wait to do the speaking against it then?
you can do that now.
All right, well, I think it's a bad idea to put mechanicals, too close, to the coastal conservancy district. Thanks.
Thank you. Rebuttal, unless there's anybody else, I'm sorry. Yes, sir, please. Did I already read your letter by any
You did,
chance?
yes,
So,
yeah.
can you tell us something different?
I guess probably not. It was Brett and Patty Zecker. We were just kind of referring to why they were moving it close to right next to our property line.
Wait, you have to, the microphone, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were just concerned as why they were moving it from where where it was, and it's not there now, to 5 feet from our property line, which is within like 15, 20 feet from our deck, so, and then also our view to Bucks Creek is behind their house. I know it goes across their property, but we were just concerned why everything was being moved all the way over to our side when they didn't want to look at it from their patio type thing, so, I mean.
Okay, and we're gonna allow counsel to answer your
Yep.
question
Okay.
and rebut anything that's been in the letters. Do you have anything else? Because it's okay if you do. No?
That's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Counsel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess just going to try to separate, so a little bit, in terms of the construction issues, again, acknowledging there has been some issues. There been difficult problems that they've had with their contractor, but again, they're trying to get this done as quickly as possible to finish. In terms of, actually address the Gazzola's letter first, I think any sort of washout that may have taken place under it's still active construction site, it's all dirt and sand. I think once the landscaping's done, that should take care of any sort of washout that may have taken place. And again, they understand that all water has to stay on their property once it's complete. The retaining wall, I spoke with Dave Clark this morning, and this is not the final as-built plan because the property isn't completed yet. So on the final plan, it will show the retaining wall. It's just when he went out at the beginning of May to do this initial plan, the retaining wall wasn't done yet. So the final plan will show the retaining wall. It has to meet the 3-foot limitation as part of your requirement for that. Driving out a couple times this week, I didn't notice any specific damage to the road. I mean, it's a dirt road, it's sandy. I didn't see anything specific referenced in terms of what happened. It seemed pretty consistent all the way down. Again, my clients are happy to work with these folks if there's something specific they want them to try to take care of, and again, try to be good neighbors moving forward. So on the shed, I appreciate their concerns. I guess my rebuttal to that is we are meeting the setback. It is a smaller shed, it's 8 by 8. You do often see a larger shed, 12 by 8, I guess, 96 square feet, so a little bit smaller. From being back there today, I still think there is a corridor that you can see across. Again, views and vistas relate, as you know, to the neighborhood in general, not to a specific view. And again, they just thought, based on their conversation with the company for the shed, that that was the best place for it. The landscape plan, again, as my client said, they'd be happy to plant less trees, but this is what is required by the Conservation Commission as mitigation, so they don't really have any say in that. That was the planting plan that was approved back in 2023 by Conservation, so they're gonna act in accordance with that plan. I'm sure they'd be happy to I can talk to them about moving the porta potty. Obviously, that's kind of disruptive for everybody, so if that's an issue, again, we can work with them moving forward. And my clients did ask me to reiterate that I can certainly provide their contact information to you folks, phone number, email. Reach out to them directly with these concerns of the construction process as opposed to the people on site, and then they can work with you, so.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so questions from the board? Lee?
You know, I think I'm okay. I think no questions.
Steve?
I have a couple of questions. The shed, if it were to be moved to where it's proposed, how is that going to be supported? Is it going to be on some sort of pier structure on the rear of it? Because the ground slopes off very drastically there where it's being proposed.
I don't know the answer to that. I would assume so, but I don't know the specifics on that.
Okay. And I don't see anything on the plan, but I'm assuming there's going to be some off-street parking. Where is that proposed for? Do you know? Is it in
If
front
you
of
look
the
at,
patio?
I'm sorry, if you look at, it's not on the as-built. I don't know if we included the prior site plan. I can certainly pass it out to you. I don't know if Sarah has that. And there is a little driveway proposed near the retaining wall on the front right of the structure that you'll see.
So sort of in front of where the patio has been built.
Exactly right, yep.
And then, do you know what that material is going to be? Is that going to be
It's gonna be,
permeable?
it calls out for stone on the plan.
Okay,
You can see it there, Steve, next to the,
okay. Okay, so really the only, you know, the air conditioner and the generator being basically moved, slid over, so then I think they're a few feet closer to the coastal bank, but not dramatically so. I'm just wondering if maybe that shed could be moved maybe closer to the house or on the side of the house or something, just so, to appease some of the neighbors, might be helpful. Thank you.
yep.
David Nixon, do you have any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay. Ed, do you have questions?
No questions.
And Mr. Veach?
Yeah, I just want to, so since the construction has gone over into the time period, we're now under the restrictions that, conditions that we put on exterior. So this is, the house is basically, they're doing interior work at this point.
Correct, yep. There's stone on site, which they're waiting for the landscaping is gonna get, once they want the interior work to be complete, then they're gonna do the rest. I don't know why it's delivered already, but that hasn't happened yet.
Okay, yeah, just thinking about our conditions and the difference between types of interior work and the extensive landscaping and hardscaping that's gonna take place is something we might want to think about as we go forward with these kinds of things, given the problems they've already had with the neighbors. And then I don't think, and so correct me, you, in terms of the impetus to move the shed, it was to get it further away from the resource area? Was that what,
No, it was the patio proximity is what they were.
proximity to the
Yep.
patio?
It is actually a little further away from the resource area, just because of the way the
Okay.
line juts out in that direction, so it was,
Well, I mean, I would just, given the concerns of the neighbors, and I mean, they have the right to put it back there in that corner, but I would ask them to consider putting it back where it was.
Okay.
You know, so,
Yep.
thanks. I don't have no other questions.
Okay, Ginny, questions?
So Jamie, why does the shed need to be in front of us? It does meet the setbacks as you're required, and it's less than 100 square feet.
because of the Conservancy District
Okay.
bylaw amendment.
Okay. And the new location, proposed location, is an improvement to the conservation?
To the proximity of the Conservancy District, yes, it is.
Okay. Why was it removed?
I don't know the answer to that, other
Okay.
than they didn't understand you're supposed to leave it there until you get
Okay.
the new one in place.
Because if it's not approved, then it has to be built somewhere
Right.
else. Okay.
Correct, yep.
And then one last question about the mechanicals. So the narrative says that we approved the mechanical, I don't have the prior site plan either, but that we approved those mechanicals last time, right?
They were shown on the site plan.
Okay, that's
yeah.
what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you. Sometimes they're not pointed out because they're,
Right, so
not
they,
really
they also, similar to the shed, didn't, the Conservancy District setback did not apply back when this application was heard back in January 2024.
Okay.
And they met and still meet the setback to the lot line was the consideration, so they weren't really part of the special permit approval, but they were shown on the plan.
so they were shown on the plan, they weren't really discussed. They're, still look like they're about the same distance from the house. They're just shifted over
Yes, yep.
to the left. Okay, thank you.
So, Jamie, why, you probably said it, and I apologize, why do you need to relocate the exterior mechanical system?
They're flip-flopping it with the outdoor shower.
But why do you need to do it?
I guess you don't need to. It would be a want. There's no requirement to do it. It's a preference.
Okay, and then, what was the other thing? Okay, that'll be it for me. Ginny, would you like to close the public hearing and move to deliberations?
I move to close the hearing and move to deliberations.
Dave each seconds and votes yes.
Ed votes yes.
David Nixon?
Yes.
Ginny?
Yes.
As do I. Okay, deliberations. Ed?
I guess my thoughts on this is, we approved sort of the shed in a location that's shown on this plan. I think the shed's being moved because it would be less of a distraction to the current homeowner, but more of a distraction to the abutter. The AC and generators, the placement where they are now, I think is fine. I guess it goes through those needs and wants. And I think what we approve should stand. And if you wanted my vote on this, the shed and the AC generators would have to stay where they were originally planned.
But just to clarify, you're okay with the 19 square foot?
I am,
Okay.
but, and I would only vote yes for in totality
Okay,
if the shed and the AC and generators stay where they were originally planned.
understood. Mr. Veach?
Well, I'm, the 19 square feet doesn't really bother me. I think, I'm a little surprised that didn't also affect some of the setbacks and things, but I guess I think it's just very good, all things considered, that they made allowances so that this overage did not take them into further needing, all they needed was an adjustment to special permit. So that's good. And certainly just another wrinkle between manufactured housing and you know, on-site work, and et cetera. So another place for communication to go wrong. So I don't have a problem with that. The other things, I don't really, again, as I said, I would, my vote would be to grant the relief that they're asking for here. But as I suggested earlier, I would suggest keeping the shed where it was originally located. And I don't, with respect to the mechanicals, I don't think, it seems to me that making a swap like that with the rent station / outdoor shower is a legitimate request, and I don't think that the neighbors, I don't think they would be negatively affected by that, so I could support it as it's been asked for. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Nixon, deliberations.
I believe Mr. Acton spoke for me too, because I agree that as far as the house goes, usually 19 square feet extra is a problem to me, but not in this case. I think you explained that very well. I understand that. But the other two issues, no, they should stay where they are.
Okay, Lee? Oh, did I already call on you? No? Okay.
Well, I probably would have approved this initially, had it come before us. You know, I don't have any problem with the extra 19 square feet at all. And I don't really have any problem with the location, the change of the location of the shed and/or the appliances. I'm not voting today, so I'll let my colleagues do that.
Steve?
Well, okay, so I guess we have, there's sort of three topics of discussion. There's the 19 square feet, which I don't have any issue with. It's still compliant and it's understandable. The relocation of the generator and AC unit, I don't see as a big issue. I think I don't see that as an issue. It's probably more convenient for the homeowner. I have an issue with the shed. Where it's gonna go, I don't think was a good choice. It's very drastic. The land slopes off very drastically there, and I think there's gonna be some pier structure, something that's gonna have to hold up the rear of that. And its original location was approved originally. And, you know, they could put some trees along the back of their patio or something to block the shed. So I think I approved 2 out of 3, but I think I have an issue with the shed location.
Jenny?
So I'm okay with the 19 square feet as well. I was thinking what Lee was saying. Would I have approved this before? And I use that consistently with other hearings. Would I have approved it before? Because we do get these frequently, these changes. And I would have. I mean, the AC and the generator are just shifting over. So I would have approved it if it had been presented previously. I think the fact that the shed, the new location is an improvement to CCD. So in one respect, that's actually better. The only reason it has to come before us is because of CCD. And it's meeting the setbacks. So I think there's some irony in there. You know, I side with the property owner in this case. I think that views and vistas, I want to go to the comment that someone wrote in about, the neighbor wrote in about the board found the site to be suitable with no impact on neighboring properties. And you had mentioned views and vistas, and that was at the previous hearing. But the property owner is saying that they have a view and vista of the shed from their patio, and they don't want that. And so I feel as though we always listen to what the abutters say, and we take it into consideration, but, you know, we don't always accommodate what they want in lieu of what the property owner wants, if it's reasonable, and I think it is.
So you can count, and so I could tell you what I think, but I don't really need to, so.
Well, I'm wondering if, may I ask just one question of Ed and David? If we put the shed back where it is, but move the mechanicals, would that be something you'd be willing to consider? Because I feel like that, the shed's obviously a drastic change, but the mechanicals is a pretty minor adjustment. And the outdoor shower, ironically, might be more disruptive for the neighbors in terms of their view than the mechanicals, because it's gonna be taller and block more of that area than the mechanicals at their height.
But remember, there's no such thing as an outdoor shower in
A
Chatham.
rent station, excuse me, yes.
Yep, so they don't have a right to that, so to speak.
Well, I understand.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so, gentlemen,
Okay.
You have to turn your mic on just for,
I would be fine with that.
and Mr. Nixon?
That would be all right with me.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go with Sarah for a moment.
So Mr. Norcross would need to withdraw the request to relocate the shed,
Okay.
and then the board would vote on the other two aspects of the application.
I will withdraw the request to relocate the shed.
Okay, so there's, Ginny, can we have a motion to grant the withdrawal of the shed request?
Yes, so I move to, I make a motion to withdraw the location of the shed.
To approve the, yes.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
Ed votes yes.
I vote yes.
Ginny? As do I. Okay, so we got that done. Next, now we need a motion to approve the application specifically. Let's go with Sarah for a moment.
So application to approve the increase in building coverage and new location of the exterior mechanicals. The only question is, would the board like to reincorporate the standard conditions that were imposed at the first application?
And underline them this time? Yes, I would. Everybody? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so Ginny,
Okay, so I move to approve application 25058 with the modification that we approve the increase in building coverage and we approve the new location of the mechanicals, AC and generator.
and we reinstate all the
And-
conditions.
And with the, we reinstate all the previous conditions.
Yep, very good.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
Ed votes yes.
Yes.
Ginny votes yes.
As do I. That's unanimous.
Great, thank you very much.
Very good. Collaboration. Okay, next we have 57 Captain Richards Way, unless I'm wrong. We do, right? We do. Yeah, and that's 25-053. We're back to Attorney William Litchfield for Pete Patano and Lorraine Foley Patano when Sarah's ready. No rush.
Application number 25-053, Peter Patano and Lorraine Foley Patano, care of William G. Litchfield Esquire, 330 Orleans Road, North Chatham, Mass. 02650. Owners of property located at 57 Captain Richards Way, also shown on the Town of Chatham's Assessor's Map 10D, Block 94, Lot R5. The applicant proposes to change, alter, or expand a conforming dwelling on a non-conforming lot via the construction of an addition. The proposed addition will comply with all bulk and dimensional requirements of the bylaw, but is considered a substantial alteration, and under the second acceptance clause of Section 6 of Chapter 40A, such substantial alteration requires the grant of a special permit. The existing building coverage is 1,715 square feet, 10.7%, and the proposed building coverage is 2,196 square feet, 13.7%, where 15% is the maximum allowed. The lot is non-conforming in that it contains 15,986 square feet, where 20,000 square feet is required in the R20 zoning district. A special permit is required under Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 6, and Section 5B of the protected bylaw.
Welcome back, Attorney Litchfield. Tell us about the garage, I believe.
Thank you very much. And the garage is essentially the issue. Those of you who have been on the board for any length of time will perhaps recall that back in the COVID era, the Pantanos came to you to expand what had been a summer cottage and to build what is there now. Had they realized the need for storage and for a car and what winters are like, because they live here year-round, they probably would have asked for a garage then, had they thought of that or had they had guidance from Mr. Nixon, but they did not at the time. So they are back to you today. And I should introduce Dan Speakman and Peter Pantano, both of whom, Dan is our engineer, builder, designer, surveyor, he wears a few hats, who did the plans for the house, which you see now, and also for the garage. As was indicated in the hearing notice, it is a straightforward Borkland or Bransford petition. The proposal meets all requirements as shown on the site plan there. We are 15 feet from the northerly lot line, in excess of 15 feet, and we're set back about 45 feet from the street. So it'll go into the criteria. The site is adequate for the cottage built before zoning and expanded in 2021, but still of a fairly modest scale. Living area of 1,800 square feet and a footprint of only 1,700 square feet. I think you can find the site to be adequate for the addition of a garage, which meets setback and coverage requirements, and a resulting footprint of less than 2,200 square feet, which even with the garage is still a modest home. As to compatibility of size of the neighborhood, we have one of the larger lots in a former cottage colony, but we're relatively low as to coverage at 10%, 10.7%, and living area of 1,800 square feet. If you approve the special permit, as I hope you will do, it will remain compatible and fit with neighboring properties, almost all of which, except for the cottage colony, the old cottages going in on the left, almost all of which have garages. The gross floor area and the living area will remain consistent, and it will remain a reasonable and compatible home. As to the extent of increase in nonconformity, that's easy. There is none. Our sole nonconformity is lot size. The proposal meets every bulk and dimensional requirement of the bylaw, so there's no increase in nonconformity. As to suitability of site and impact to natural environment, the site is and will remain suitable for residential use as it has been the 70 years or so since the house was built, the original house. There are no environmental issues involved. As to scale, siting, mass views, and vistas, what is there now is a Greek revival with a porch, gable end to the street of appropriate design. It's without impact on views and vistas, and adding a garage which will match the architectural style and details of the existing house, which will remain reasonable as to scale and mass and be appropriate for the site. It's consistent with the surroundings and has no impact on neighborhood views and vistas. Compatibility of use, having a garage is obviously a residential use, and there are no issues there. We have town water and are on town sewer. The chair will read a letter from the health agent who has reviewed the matter, and the room over the garage does not meet the definition of and will not be used as a garage, as a bedroom rather, because it's open to below. The other criteria are not at issue, so the question, as you know, is whether construction of a garage with living space above, completely conforming as to the bylaw, is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. The house will remain compatible with the neighborhood. On the third page of the handout, you can see that we have gross floor area and living area on a relatively large lot that are in keeping and will remain in keeping with those of abutting properties. Still a fairly modest home in comparison or absolute terms. Bjorklund said that it was designed, or the basis of the decision was to prevent McMansions. What is proposed today, which is a 480 square foot addition for a garage, is certainly far from that. Coverage remains below what is allowed, and again, we're 45 feet back from the street, where only 25 feet is required. So I think that in light of the plans and the criteria under our bylaw, you can find that the proposed addition of a garage is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood.
Thank you. Is there anybody here or online that wishes to speak in favor of this application? Seeing none, I will read the one correspondence that we received from the health agent. Judith Giorgio tells us on 8/12/2025 that she reviewed the plan to add a studio/garage to the property. Since the studio space opens directly into the garage, it is not considered a bedroom. This space will not be allowed to be used as a bedroom. A site plan showing the septic system in relation to the addition is needed for review. Next, we ask if there's anybody with a question or wishes to speak against the application. Are there any? No. Okay. Would you like to speak to the health agent's report?
Well, it is not going to be a garage or a bedroom rather. If the health agent thinks there should be a covenant, we can execute one, but that hasn't been requested.
Yeah, okay, very good.
And again, if I could, it does not meet the definition under the Board of Health bedroom definitions.
And you'll get her the
Yeah,
picture that
we
she
are on town, Dan or Peter, if I may, Madam Chairman, have we yet connected to town sewer?
If they could just shake their head because no one can talk from the
Have we
audience.
yet connected to town sewer? We have connected to town sewer.
Very good.
So as I thought was the case, so the
Right,
septic system is sort of a nullity.
She probably didn't realize that.
Understood.
Yeah, you're not allowed to talk from the audience, sir.
Mr.
much as we'd
Speakman,
love
our
to hear from
engineer,
you.
will deal appropriately with
Yes.
the health department.
Very nice. Okay, so now, are there any questions from the board? Ginny?
Question, Mr. Litchfield, no plumbing in this new area, this loft area?
No plumbing in the loft area, correct. No plumbing in the loft area.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Veach, questions? No? Ed?
No questions.
Dave?
No questions?
Lee?
No questions.
And Steve?
I didn't see any property line markers, and it was kind of difficult to tell exactly where 15 feet from the garage was going to be.
I apologize for that. I went out there and frankly, I saw the marker of the garage and I didn't look for the property line. I apologize.
So, because there's a fence there, a stockade fence, I guess that's the neighbor's fence, because it seems to be more than 15 feet away.
Yeah, it probably is on the inside marking the boundary of the old cottage colony that's
Okay.
there.
And just,
Received boundary.
just got to be careful, because you're within about an inch of the
Yep.
setback. So we already had one or two applications today that dealt with going over.
I will, if I take 10 seconds, remind the applicant and his construction folks that because we are so close and because measurements are to the corner board, might be good to plan on building it 15.5 or 15.6 feet from the lot line, even if you lose a couple of inches, because these are charming people, but we don't want to see them again.
No, and we don't want to see you again either.
Understood.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we're going to ask, was there? No? Ginny, to close the public hearing and move to deliberations.
I move to close the hearing and move to deliberations.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
Ed?
Ed votes yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Ginny votes
Ginny?
yes.
As do I. Okay, deliberations. Mr. Nixon, anything?
This seems like a fine application to me. I don't see that in any way, shape, or form it's more detrimental to the neighborhood.
Yeah, very good. And Ed, anything further?
No, I agree as well.
Mr. Beach?
So do I.
Lee?
I agree as well. I only would have loved to have seen a picture of the whole structure, not just the addition, not just the existing, but together.
Gave us the findings. Okay, Steve?
I think it's a good project. Garage space is always good.
And Ginny?
I was going to say garage space is good here in Massachusetts, Chatham. I think it's a great project, and it's not substantially more detrimental. I would approve.
Yep, and thank you. I also want to point out that the applicant has given us written findings that we have now adopted. So if we seem to rush through this, it's just because we already have it all down. And let's,
Okay, I move to approve the application number 25053 as submitted. Do we need conditions?
do we need conditions, Mr. Litchfield?
We would accept them if you could nod. Do we intend to start on this early in the fall? We do intend to start on it early in the fall, and can it be completed in less than 9 months? It likely can be. If you don't feel the need to impose the condition, that will be fine in case it takes until July 1. But the intent is to get it done promptly.
Does anyone feel strongly that we need conditions on this one, or that we should?
The only, again, as far as the timing, the only thing is when we call out the construction hours and no weekends, I think that's still important, because then that sets a framework that somebody's not going to be working till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So that part, I think we can go ahead,
Yeah.
So, and actually, if you have, I'll read what parts we want if you'd like.
Go ahead, and then you
Okay.
can, and then Ginny will second it this time.
Let me find it.
You kind of just said it, but that's okay.
Yeah, but that's, can't trust what I say, that's too much. So I would move that we approve application number, the application
25,
25-053 with the following conditions. All construction activity and vehicles should be contained on site or at a neighboring property with the permission of the property owner. and that between June 30th and Labor Day, no work shall be permitted on the weekends, construction activity between 8 AM and 5 PM only.
Okay, and Jenny, would you second that, please?
Yes, I second that.
And how do you vote?
I vote yes.
How do you vote, Mr. Beach
Ms. Veach votes yes.
and Mr. Acton?
Ed votes yes.
Mr. Nixon?
Yes.
As do I, it's unanimous.
Thank you
Congratulations.
very much.
Okay, before we travel down to Little Beach, we are going to take a 5 to 10-minute break, and we'll see you on the other side of that. on the air. Okay. We're going to be a moment, though. Those of you at home, just a little housekeeping here. Everybody has to get in place. I just noticed that we're on the air, and we are now going to travel to 47 Little Beach, and Sarah's going to read that application.
Application number 25-062, Monomoy Rips LLC, care of William F. Riley Esquire, P.O. Box 707, Chatham, Mass. 02633. Owner of property located at 47 Little Beach Road, also shown on the Town of Chatham's Assessor's Map 16A, Block 25, Lot H50. The applicant seeks to enlarge, extend, or change a non-conforming dwelling on a non-conforming lot via the demolition of the existing dwelling and the construction of a new dwelling. The existing dwelling is non-conforming, and that it is located 30.4 feet from Little Beach Road, 13 feet from an unnamed way, 2.2 feet over the southerly abutters property line, and entirely within the Coastal Conservancy District, floodplain elevation 13. The proposed dwelling will be non-conforming, and that it will be located 19 feet from Little Beach Road, 12.7 feet from an unnamed way, where a 40-foot setback is required, 0.1 feet from the southerly abutter, where a 25-foot setback is required, and entirely within the Coastal Conservancy District, where a 50-foot setback is required. The existing building coverage is 659 square feet, and the proposed building coverage is 730 square feet, where 2,800 square feet is the maximum allowed. The lot is non-conforming in that it contains 0 square feet of buildable upland where 20,000 square feet is required, and contains 4,972 square feet of land area where 40,000 square feet is required in the R40 zoning district. A special permit is required under Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 6, and Section 5B of the Protective Bylaw.
Welcome, gentlemen. Just state your names if you would.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. William Riley on behalf of Monomoy Rips.
And Jim Cappuccino with Hutker Architects.
Okay, welcome, like I said.
We also have Aaron Levin, who's online, one of the architects with Hutker as well. And Dave Clark is here, our engineer, in case you have questions regarding grading or any of the elevations we have on our plans.
Okay, well, welcome, everyone, and tell us what you want to do at 47 Little Beach.
Okay, so this is the third time that these properties have been here. I don't know how many of you were here for all three. Dave, I think, were. In any event, the previous two times, the owner had designs that appeared much more massive because of the design. Not the buildings really weren't that massive, but they used gambrel roofs and showed a lot of what I would call ostentatious verticality, sort of epitomized by 46 Little Beach Road, the little house that everybody loves to hate. Oh, I guess somebody said they're getting used to it now. In any event, so the current design, as you can see, brings a traditional Cape Cod cottage look to these properties, and I think constitutes a real improvement in the neighborhood as well. And I would like to, as we start, remind you that the height of the house is really driven by the building code requirement that the first floor be 2 feet above the floodplain, which is 13 feet in this elevation. So the structures themselves, from the first floor to the ridge, or from the foundation to the ridge, is 21 feet. So not a massive building. So what I'd like to do, introduce Jim Cappuccino, of course, who's from Hutker Architects, and have him go through how these designs meet the family needs, why they designed them the way they designed them, and how they fit in the neighborhood. Jim?
We're going to do one at a time, if we could, since we've only
Beg your
read
pardon?
one at a time.
Yeah, we're just doing 47.
Right, thank you, yep.
Okay, just 47, yeah. But to give some context, Rod and Kerry Henkels have spent decades in Chatham and renting this very property for the last 15, 20 years. So when the opportunity arose to purchase it, they saw it as a chance to deepen their ties to the community and create a lasting legacy for their family. Regarding the design, the vision was to design a home that respects the character of the neighborhood and supports the growing family needs. Architecturally, our response was simple, quiet, familiar. As Bill said, we've chosen gable forms that reflect the modest vernacular of Cape Cod, and we believe these fit contextually beautifully into the fabric of the neighborhood. And to ground the homes in the site, we've proposed natural materials, Alaskan yellow cedar shingles for both sidewalls and roofs, which over time will patina to a beautiful, natural, soft silvery tone. The base of the house, we're proposing board form concrete. So when poured, they will take on the imprint of the boards that they're cast against. Again, they'll be silver in color as well. And the trim and window casings will also be in earth tone colors with proportions and detailing that reference the nearby homes, helping the construction feel that it's always belonged.
All right, thank you. I gave away all my bylaw analysis, so I have to borrow one back. Remember to count next time. So, to run through the criteria for you, so adequacy of the size of the site in terms of the proposed use. Lot 47 contains 4,972 square feet, so it's very small. The existing house actually sits across the property line, encroaching on 53 Little Beach. The applicant proposes to relocate the building, so it's entirely within the limits of the lot. And the building coverage is only increasing by 71 square feet. So although, as Sarah read, we don't meet all the setbacks, the building at least is located entirely on its own lot. The proposed building coverage is 730 square feet, but the actual living space on the first floor is only 688 square feet. On the second floor is 537 square feet. So we think that the site's adequate, although it's a small lot, it's adequate for this building. The compatibility of the site, the size of the proposed structure with neighboring properties, as those of you who've been here long enough know that the Horn Cottages area, and Steve has an ad for the original J.B. Horn Cottages, were just a series of cottages that were built by the Horn family, all modest, all small. Not that you would know by driving down there today. Most of them have been elevated to meet the 13-foot floodplain. So the structures are all significantly larger than they started out. So I think that 47 clearly fits in the fabric of the neighborhood down there in terms of size. Extent of the proposed increase in the nonconforming nature. We are reducing one nonconformity by moving the structure into its own lot, but the increase in the living area constitutes an intensification of the nonconforming nature, so that is an increase in nonconformity. Suitability of the site, including but not limited to impact on neighboring properties, or on the natural environment, including slopes, vegetation, wetlands, groundwater, water bodies, and stormwater runoff. So I believe that question is the site suitable for the proposed construction? And we believe that it is because there'll be no negative impact on the neighboring properties or on the natural environment. There's no steep slopes going to wetlands or water bodies. In fact, because the building's being elevated above the floodplain, they're actually reducing the risk of damage to the structure in a major storm event, such as a hurricane, which could damage other structures. So we believe the site is suitable for this construction. So impact of scale, siting, and mass on neighborhood visual character, including views and vistas. The applicant's aware of the concerns previously expressed by neighbors and some board members regarding the design of 46 Little Beach, with its gambrel roof and ostentatious verticality. Accordingly, they've created a classic Cape Cod cottage look, including the use of dormers to reduce the height of the structure to the minimum amount necessary. The height of the structure from the top of foundation is a little less than 21 feet, and the first floor is mandated by the building code to be 2 feet above the floodplain. So they have to start at 15 feet and they have to end at 30. So the building can only be 20 feet tall. So we believe that this design in particular is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure. And compatibility of the proposed use with neighboring uses, it's a single-family residence in a single-family neighborhood. Property served by public water. The sewage disposal will be using a new septic system with a nitrogen-reducing capacity, which constitutes a significant improvement. No impact on traffic flow and safety, no impact on noise and litter. Utilities are adequate. Item 12, we do have some lateral expansion here, 71 square feet. And I've never thought that this particular criteria had made much sense because it asks for its impact on the impervious part of the lot. Well, this is impervious, so, but it's a very small increase. And so we believe that we meet that criteria, whatever it is. So that'd be our presentation. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Is there anybody here or on Microsoft Teams that wishes to speak in favor of 47 Little Beach? Seeing none, I will read the 5 correspondences that we received. Judith Giorgio, our health agent, tells us on 8/12/2025 that she reviewed the plans to demo and rebuild the dwelling at this property. She actually wrote it in plural. The plan proposes a shared septic system for the dwellings. This requires approval by the Board of Health and State Department of Environmental Protection. Share systems require a covenant, documents, and financial assurances that the systems will be maintained by the owners. The Board of Health has not seen the proposed septic plans. Floor plans for existing dwellings are needed, as well as on-site testing to confirm groundwater elevations. This is a flood zone, and the system will be required to meet the Department of Environmental Protection and local regulations for construction in a flood zone. Next, we have a note from the Conservation Commission from July 17th, 2025. They heard the project on July 9th, and they anticipate being able to condition it with the performance standards probably at their next meeting on September 10th.
Right.
Next, we have a note from Maggie and Nick Chigas, and they tell us on August 12th, 2025, that they own 16 Little Beach and are in total support of the above captioned applications and overall project, and that would be the one at issue now. We have reviewed the application project and feel that the Henkel's proposed plans will be an absolute positive for the Little Beach neighborhood. Thank you for your careful consideration of this project. And, okay, and then last, we have a note from Joanne and Dan Lonergan, 30 Little Beach Road. They tell us on August 12th, 2025, that they're writing to submit their support for the above application, so this is for both. We own 30 Little Beach Road and have been here for over 25 years, have reviewed the proposed plans for both projects, and feel strongly that the Henkel's proposed plans will be a positive change to our neighborhood. Thank you for your careful consideration. Anything else? Did I miss one? Oh, okay. CHC, the Chatham Historical Commission, they did not find the building to be historically significant and thus did not impose a demolition delay. and that came to us on July 16th, 2025. Anybody here on Microsoft Teams wishes to speak against this application or has a specific question? Sir, you know what to do?
Brian Phillips. I mean, to me, it's a little historical because these houses were there before all these rules, floodplain, rules were in. You couldn't build these houses now. I think increasing lot coverage in a flood zone sets a very dangerous precedent because, and I would argue that it actually does have a detrimental effect on the neighbors because the flood zones are there for a reason. When it floods, there needs to be that area there to mitigate the flood so the water can absorb into the ground. So I just think, increasing the lot coverage is not a good thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to let Mr. Riley, Attorney Riley, respond to that in a moment. Just want to make sure, is there anybody else here or on Microsoft Teams that either has a question or wishes to speak against? No. Mr. Riley, please enlighten us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With all due respect to Mr. Phillips, the floodplain requirements aren't there so that the ground can absorb the floodwaters. We live in a shorefront community where the flooding is tidal or storm created. So the water comes in and the water goes out. We do have a wetland adjacent to our property that does absorb some of the floodwaters, and they stay there because it's a low spot. But basically, increasing our lot coverage by 71 square feet is not going to have any impact whatsoever. In fact, when you think about it, a storm surge is something that's created far at sea. Wind strength, distance, atmospheric pressure. There's nothing that we could do in Chatham that's going to affect the height of a storm surge. So we just don't think it's a serious part of the process here.
And I just also would ask you to opine on the issue of historicness.
Sorry, what?
The issue of whether it's historic, can you let the public know why that definition is not applicable here?
Well, this was the third time we went to the Historic Commission as well. And each time that we've been there, after careful and thoughtful consideration, the Historic Commission found that while the buildings qualified under our bylaw, 75 years old, they were not historically significant. And so for that commission, that determination really terminates their authority to deal with them. So that's why they did not impose a demolition delay.
And the issue of significance is not just something that people just think of off the cuff. It has a meaning and a definition, correct?
Yeah, although candidly, I'm not all that certain that it really matters that much, but the phrases they use in the bylaw have to do with people who live there, was the structure important in events of the town?
Right.
And so
They decided no.
They decided no.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so now we have questions from the board, I think.
Do we have questions and concerns from the board?
Oh, we're gonna find that out. Well, but we're right now, we're focused only on the smaller ask, 47 Little Beach Road. David Beach, questions?
I don't have questions at this point. Something might come up, but not with respect to this one, no.
Okay. Ed, any questions?
Yeah, first floor ceiling height?
Beg your pardon?
For Ms.
Could we get Erin?
Yeah, first floor ceiling height,
Right.
Mr. Riley, that's what was asked.
Yeah,
9 feet?
9 feet.
9 feet.
9 feet.
And the second floor, I assume perhaps cathedral?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's a little voice from afar. Okay. Any other questions? From Ed? No?
No other questions.
Okay. Mr. Nixon, questions?
No, but I'll register a concern. Sarah, could you put out the rendering of the two homes in question for us again? Thank you. This says it all to me. I'd be standing in Little Beach Road, or perhaps I'd be in homes behind there, and I'm looking up at 37 feet. That's what it is from the roadway to the ridge. My view, I don't care where you are, is destroyed. And I won't say any more. That's my concern.
Okay, very good. Lee, questions, and you can do concerns too.
I have a question. Is there any way we can find out what the height of 46 Little Beach Road is?
Yes, there is a way.
Okay, all right, well, and I have this, and, well, we're doing that. I mean, it's really just out of
Well,
curiosity.
If I could say, it can't exceed 30 feet from the lowest adjacent grade.
True, okay.
So it's basically the same height. But, you know, we think it's the design that makes 46 unattractive, and this design makes this attractive. If I could just address Mr. Nixon's concern about the height.
Sure.
So if you go up, you know, Lobster Lane or Scallop Terrace or any of those others, the height of the structures, you know, when we say 37 feet, it's 37 feet above the flood. You know, but the building itself is only 20 feet high. And, you know, the foundation doesn't count because there's nothing in there. We're required to have the foundation that height. And so the question is a 20-foot-high building unreasonable? And I think that it's easy for me to say anyway, that a building that's only 20 feet high from the first floor to the ridge is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood when you consider that virtually every other house that's been modified there is the same height and has a ridge that's at the same elevation.
But it's not in the same exact spot. I just have to say that. And I'm going to go to our building commissioner.
I just wanted to point out the height of this particular proposed structure is 30 feet, because in the floodplain, we measure building height from lowest adjacent grade, which is called out at 7.4 feet elevation, and the ridge elevation is listed at 37.4 feet, so it's exactly 30 feet.
Right, so in other words, the number you're using is the height above sea level, 37 feet above sea level, but it's only 30 feet tall from the lowest adjacent grade, which is what our bylaw demands, and it's actually 1 foot shorter than that if you look at the plans closely. So I think that there isn't much more you could do to reduce the height of the building. And it has nothing to do with the fact it's on an elevated landform, because it's driven by the floodplain, not the location of the building.
Okay, now we're going to go back to Sarah to answer Lee's question.
Okay, so 46 Little Beach is a little bit different because they have their septic system, so they were allowed to raise the grade due to the septic system being there. That's why there's the large retaining wall. So the top of theirs is at elevation 10 or 11, top foundation, and they're about 23 and a half feet above that. So their elevation is probably 34 and a half, 35.
Okay, Lee, any other questions?
Thank you. No, but I will voice a concern regarding the height as well. I actually think the design is fantastic. I really love it. I think it's going to fit in very nicely, and I think the use of the traditional unstained shingles is totally key. But I think anything that can be done to reduce the height a little bit would be helpful.
And Steve?
Yeah, I like the design too. I just have a couple of questions, I guess. The deck the stairs seem to empty out onto the adjacent property or right at the property line.
Which?
On 47, the stairs for the rear deck seem to empty out onto the adjacent property. They come out right at the property line.
Yeah, well, the happily, is that the rear deck or the?
Both of them, actually.
Yeah, so happily, both properties are owned by Monomoy Rips LLC, if the town staff wants there to be some sort of grant of permission to allow them to remain there, we can take care of that if that's something the town staff would recommend.
No, I understand, because maybe both properties are owned by the same person now, but that doesn't necessarily go in perpetuity.
Right, no, I understand, and that's why I say if requested, we'll create a document to make sure that the right continues after separation.
And then if we could go back to the picture where it showed both houses side by side. There's a wall there by the parking area between the two houses. Is the ground behind that wall level with the foundation? Is that basically a retaining wall or a?
Let me get Dave Clark up here to answer that question. Saying the wall, the front of the building.
So is it the ground that's behind that wall on the opposite side that we can see, is that level with the foundations of the houses?
It's close to it.
Right, so it's not at the level of where the parking area is? It's much higher than that?
As you go up the stairs?
Yeah.
Yes, that wall, the top of that wall is about at the elevation of the top of foundation, because we need that fill on the other side for the septic components, the tanks and the pump chambers and the treatment unit.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark. Any other questions, Steve? Okay, Jenny, questions?
Mr. Riley, you called it an elevated landform, but this existing buildup of sand is what is contributing to this whole height issue vis-a-vis the other properties in Little Beach.
I don't think that's accurate.
Well, as Mr. Nixon said, if you're standing there in that driveway, you're already, I mean, that's sort of, that driveway represents the plane, more or less, of the other properties behind it. They're maybe even lower, it slopes down. So this buildup of sand, this mounding of sand that has been there is contributing to the height concern. You don't agree with that?
Oh, no, I agree with it, but I thought you were implying that it was put there by nature.
No,
it's
it's
fill.
clearly, right, and it has the barrier in the back and all
Yeah,
of that.
this whole neighborhood, Steve has a picture
Yeah.
of the property.
It's really,
Was created by material taken out of Stage Harbor.
Right.
When they closed off the natural entrance to Stage Harbor and created the entrance we have today, all that dredge material, he also dredged Johnson's Creek and Stage Harbor mooring basin, and all that material went on this property.
right.
And before that, it was a marsh. So, yeah, but you're right about that. The sand got dumped there, and
So it's beneficial in the sense that it's elevated, but that's also what's contributing to some of the concerns with height, because you have to start there as your grade and go up. I mean, I get that, but it's tall. I have concerns about height.
I understand, but if you, see, here's the thing that's frustrating about Mr. Nixon's concern, because he's had the same concern every time the properties come back. And if the landform wasn't there, the building would be the same height, because the first floor has to be at elevation 15. Do you understand? So in other words, take away all the sand that's there. The building has to be the same height, because the first floor is at elevation 15, then you add 20-foot structure above that, and that's the building you have there. So the landform has nothing to do with the height of the building. Everything is driven by the floodplain. And we've talked about this before. I could never convince Dave that it was driven by the floodplain, but that's the fact. The first floor has to be where it is here. And if there was no sand there, it's just like over on Scallop Terrace, excuse me. All those buildings are the same height because the first floor has to be at elevation 15. So this building is no taller than the buildings over on Scallop Terrace. It's just because there's land around it, somehow it seems taller, but it really isn't.
The building isn't taller, but it is on an elevated landmass, which is what you call it, and so it is taller.
Yeah, it is not taller,
Okay,
because it's 30, the building is 30 feet from the lowest adjacent grade, which is elevation 4.7 or 7.4 here, 7.4, which is, the same elevation as over on Scallop Terrace and Clamshell Lane and Lobster Lane. All those buildings that you've all approved, they're all the same height as these buildings. Generally they're narrow because they start from a narrower base, but they're all the same height because the first floor has to be at elevation 15. It has nothing to do with the fact that there's land around it that's higher than the rest of the land in this neighborhood.
okay. Is the deck keeping the same footprint, Mr.?
Well, the deck on 47, 53's been decreased.
Well, we're talking 47 right now. Is
Yeah.
that the same footprint as the,
I don't know, I know they decreased the one on 53.
They didn't.
is it a little larger?
I don't think so. If that's a concern, we'd be happy to address
Okay,
it.
also, does the current cottage have an upstairs today? Or is it attic space? What's the second, is there a second floor today to the current?
There are, it's just, it's like an attic, but they do use it for sleeping accommodations.
And then my last question, so this is two lots,
Yes,
53, 47. And then at one point, it was 3. So Steve's comment about that's what it is today. There were 3 lots. One was built, changed, these remained, and then they were sold. So there's the possibility that 47 could be separated at some point and sold off, and you're left with 53 as its own, right?
that's
That's not
correct.
the plan today, but that's a possibility.
That's a possibility, that's correct.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Yes, please.
I think the way I look at it, or the way you can understand it, is all of these houses in the neighborhood basically have the same foundation height. They're just in different locations, and the first floors are pretty much all the same, and that's just a requirement. And then how far you go from there, I agree, most of them are probably in the 20 feet, but if you only to do a single story, it might be a little bit less, but the 2 feet, but they all have to meet that minimum height because of the floodplain of that first floor. And Dave Clark can expand on that, but that's the way I look at it. Regardless of the topography around it, they're all have to have that same first floor height because of the floodplain rules. That's the way I look at it.
And Mr. Beach?
So I thought of a question that I just want to follow up on Ed's question. So asking the architect, the ceiling height, first floor was 9 feet. And Ed made some question about cathedral so what's the ceiling height in the second floor? If it's a cathedral, what's the ceiling height to the plates?
Excuse me, Aaron Levin, please.
Yep, I want to
Speak
make
up.
a correction. I want to make a correction. The ceiling height on the first floor is 8 foot 2 inches, and the ceiling height on the second floor without the cathedral is 8 feet.
8 feet, 8 feet to the plates?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Thanks.
I mean, to the plate of the dormer. I'm sorry, to the
Yeah,
plate of
that's
the
that's the plate
Yep.
that I was talking about, sure, okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I had, Randy, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have a question?
If I could comment briefly. So One impact that this design has is currently, there's a retaining wall between the house on 47 and Little Beach Road. And that, if you look on the site plan, that retaining wall is being removed. And so, again, one of the things that was so objectionable about 46 was the retaining walls all around it. And so we're removing the retaining wall on the Little Beach Road side of 47.
Okay, so, my comment, concern, or question is that, given that there's a 7.4 feet requirement for buildings, right, for ceiling height, is there a universe where you'd come down from 8 feet or 8.2, an amount, just to try to get the building a little bit lower?
I'd have to consult with my
Yeah.
client, which I'm happy to do, if you want to take a break.
I just wanted to throw that out there for now. Let's just see if that matters once we deliberate, okay?
Okay.
You can keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, so let's close the public hearing and move to deliberations, if I didn't miss anybody on questions. You want to say so moved, Jenny?
So moved.
Dave Veach seconds and votes yes.
Ed Acton votes yes.
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 And I vote yes as well. Okay, now we're going to deliberate. So we're going to try to give an idea of how we would vote as we deliberate. And we'll start with Ed.
Sure. I mean, one way you could get the height down of this building would be a one-story building, but there's a number of two-story buildings in that area already, and, the genie's out of the bottle, sort of, I guess, in that area. My feeling is 8.2 isn't exorbitant. When I first heard 9 feet, I was like, oh, there's room to come down, but 8.2 feet really isn't that high. I like the change to the style. I think the cape will certainly look, more natural in that area. And I believe, it's a modest footprint change. So I guess what I'm saying is I could support the project.
Okay, and Steve, if you were voting.
Well, I very much appreciate the design. I think it's a much better fit than some of the other houses that have been built in that area. I like that Cape Cod design that you've incorporated. It seems to me that part of that 15 feet that you need to start off at has been sort of built in or cut into the surrounding land. So it kind of loses some of that initial 15 feet and it makes the house look more like it's at ground level. So, it's kind of like what Ed said, there's a dozen or more houses down there that have already been raised and are in similar situations, so I don't think I would have a problem with this.
And Lee, would you?
It's pretty close to the existing structure. And once I learned that the ceiling heights were 8 feet 2 inches and 8 feet in the top, I mean, yes, I could support it. I was, and once again, love the design.
Ginny?
Well, I have concerns about the height, too. 8.2 is better, but, yeah, I mean, it's getting a full, proper upstairs, and it's in an elevated area. But I do also love the design. Only voting on this one, I like this one, but this one is attached, kind of.
No, it's
To
not.
the other, no,
Okay.
it's separate and distinct.
Okay, all right, yeah, I could support this one.
And David Nixon, could you?
Absolutely not. Look, we can talk about the other houses and how many this and how many that's, but the fact is, if you're standing on Little Beach Road, or you're one of those other homes, and the picture has disappeared, but you are looking up at 37 feet.
No, you're
And
not.
stop.
30 feet.
Okay,
Hey,
whoa, we've closed the public hearing.
I've got the floor, Mr. Riley.
Yes, and plus, we've closed the public hearing anyway, so.
So, that's what you are looking at if you're standing at Little Beach, or if you're any of those other houses where this looms in front of you. This is unfortunately in the absolute wrong place you could have asked it to be as far as the number of homes and the views that it affects. 37 feet is not acceptable. It just is not.
And I'm going to have to agree with Mr. Nixon that it would have to come down in height in order for me to support it. Not that I think 8.2 is exorbitant, I don't, but I still think you could make the height come down.
Well, the question for the chair then is, if we brought the height down to, what's the minimum ceiling height?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to answer it in a vacuum like that. And I
Beg your
don't
pardon?
know I can't just answer that like that. What, if you did this, what would I don't know.
Randy, I haven't weighed in yet.
Please.
So, just that, I think that, well, I was glad to hear it wasn't a 9-foot ceiling on the first floor. There is some room, a few inches here, 6 or 8, they could meet the codes and things and still have a reasonable ceiling height on the first floor, especially in this size building. The height of the ceiling is relative to the floor area. And so they could, bring it down maybe 8 inches, something like that, from where it is, without, I think, significantly impacting the interior spaces or the feel of them or anything like that. I'm not sure whether that 8 inches is appearance-wise going to be significantly different than what they've proposed. I am with Ed, I think, in the way Ed described this and seeing it as Mr. Riley has presented, and the way he's presented it, that many of these, if you turn around, if you stand on Little Beach Road there, but if you turn around and you look at all of these buildings that we've approved the elevation of, and many of them, I don't remember how close they are to that 30 feet, but they're fairly close. So the proposal here is, it's about 7 feet higher than the existing ridge. But as I would agree that it's being driven largely by the requirements of the floodplain, by having to elevate the first floor to elevation 15 feet. And so this building, and the proposal is for it to basically sit in the very same plane as the buildings behind on the roads off of Little Beach Road that we've already approved. And this building is certainly no larger than any of those. So I see this, and as everyone else has commented, this design is far superior to anything we've seen before, and certainly far superior to what took place at 46. So all of that I could support it as it's been presented. If it came down a little bit and it would make other folks happy enough, then I would certainly go along with that. But I think that what they're seeking here is not, I don't share Dave's concerns in that same regard, because it's not 37 feet. It's, if you're standing at elevation 7, and then the height is 30 feet from the lowest adjacent grade, just as the buildings behind. So in my feeling with the way that we've done these other things, it certainly may stand out more prominently because it's not it's not in a village like some of those other streets, but it's putting it in the same place as the many buildings we've already approved. And I feel that it would not be substantially more detrimental in the neighborhood.
The way I look at it, I don't think it needs to be 2 stories, even though others have been approved for 2 stories around there. I don't think this particular spot needs to necessarily be 2 stories, and it, it's gonna cause, quite a bad view, essentially, in the area.
The ridge is only going up 4 feet.
From where you are now, you're going up 4 feet?
The ridge is only going up 4 feet from where it is now.
That's not what the site plan says, Bill.
Oh, you're looking at 57, 53.
No, I'm
47.
looking at 47, Bill, I'm sorry, but let's just clarify. The existing 2-bedroom dwelling, ridge elevation, 30.1.
Okay,
Proposed ridge elevation, 37.4. 7 feet, 7.3 feet. That's
So
That's the
issue.
standard we use
7 feet's quite a
in
bit.
comparison to what's there. But again, compared to the other buildings that all of which we have approved, and some of them, I will grant you, I'm sorry, they got by me. But I don't think that this one qualifies in that same way. So,
Okay, what would you like to do, Mr. Riley?
I'd like to ask for a continuance so we can consider redesign.
Okay, let's figure out what date that would go to.
How long will you need to modify plans?
A month.
A month? Okay. One moment.
I know we have to talk to them.
Just give him a long, faraway date. No, no. So we could just leave it at that? Can we close that?
We could possibly do September 25th or October 9th.
No, October 9th.
No, September 25th is,
Fine, thank you very much.
okay,
Okay, I move to approve the request for continuance to September 29th,
25th, I
25.
think? 25th?
25th to
Yep.
2025.
David seconds and votes yes.
Ed votes yes.
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 And yes, okay. Now we're gonna move along to your other application. 25-063, Monomoy Rips LLC, care of William F. Riley, 53 Little Beach Road. Sarah?
Application number 25-063, Monomoy Rips LLC, care of William F. Riley Esquire, P.O. Box 707, Chatham, Mass. 02633. Owner of property located at 53 Little Beach Road, also shown on the Town of Chatham's Assessor's Map, 16A, Block 26, Lot H52. The applicant seeks to enlarge, extend, or change a nonconforming dwelling on a nonconforming lot via the demolition of the existing dwelling and the construction of a new dwelling. The existing dwelling is nonconforming in that it is located 32.1 feet from Little Beach Road and entirely within the Coastal Conservancy District, feet from Little Beach Road where a 40-foot setback is required, and entirely within the Coastal Conservancy District where a 50-foot setback is required. Also proposed is the installation of 2 new driveways. The existing building coverage is 1,419 square feet, and the proposed building coverage is 2,773 square feet, where 2,800 square feet is the maximum allowed. The lot is nonconforming in that it contains 0 square feet of buildable upland where 20,000 square feet is required, and contains 32,600 square feet of land area where 40,000 square feet is required in the R40 zoning district. A special permit is required under Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 6 and 9, and Sections 5B and 8D2B of the protected bylaw.
Okay, Mr. Riley, I want to let Mr. Nixon make a statement about the feasibility of going through this hearing. Mr. Nixon?
If you think in any way, shape, or form, there would be a different outcome discussing number 53, I don't know what that would be. If you don't feel that there would be a different outcome, I think you should ask for a continuance.
Well, I discussed that with the Hengels, who are here. And this is a different design, and they'd like to hear comments from the members of the board. They don't expect, the people who flunked remedial math to change, but
That would be you from past
Yeah.
applications, Mr.
Right.
Riley.
Okay, so go right ahead with your, your presentation, sir.
just a minute. Go ahead, come up.
Is this the owner?
Yes.
This is Rod Hengels.
So just to the comments for 53, because I agree.
No, we're not, this isn't a time for that. I'm
No.
sorry.
I was curious as to comments that would be different than the height issues that we should consider.
We don't know, because we can't do it like that. I'm sorry. That does not compute.
Yep. I agree.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jim.
All right, so regarding 53, it has the same and similar elements as we discussed on 47. Simple gable forms. We were working to fit within the fabric of the neighborhood. We were looking to use materials that were natural, wood weather natural, wood patina natural. So this house also has Alaskan yellow cedar sidewalls, Alaskan yellow cedar roof shingles, and an earth tone palette to the windows and trim. One thing I didn't point out on 47 is that the window language here is of a scale and proportion to neighboring homes. They're 2/1 double hungs, the language in this house. The distinct difference is being a larger home than 47, that we've separated these two volumes, which is hard to see in this photo, but there is a space between the left volume and the right volume to give them more of that cottage feel. The base of this house is also suggested to be board form concrete, which would be silver in color. Yeah, that's what I would add to this. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my opening comments would be that one thing I think the board members have to keep in mind is that when property owners are required to comply with the FEMA requirements, you can't just, elevate a building. Then you have to bring it into compliance with FEMA, with building codes. It's a very expensive deal. So people say, well, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want a new home. So that's why we are where we are here. That's why every single place that's been approved down here has gone that way. So the criteria, adequacy of the size of the site in terms of the size of the proposed use. This is a significant increase in building coverage from 1,379 square feet to 2,773. But we can say that the lot on which 53 sits has an area of over 30,000 square feet. And the proposed building will meet all setbacks with the exception of the street setback. And the street, of course, if you've been there, it ends at this house, so that we don't think that the proximity of the house to the road would have a negative impact on any neighbor. Compatibility of the size of the proposed structure with neighboring properties. We passed out a sheet that shows all the homes in the neighborhood. And at 4,000 square feet gross floor area, this is one of the larger homes. There are a couple this size, and then this one is 5,000 square feet. And all the larger homes have obviously been approved by this board recently, in the last 10 years or so. The proposed increase in non-conforming nature, In addition to the decrease in the street setback, there's a significant increase in the living area, which constitutes an intensification of non-conforming use. Suitability of the site, including but not limited to impact on neighboring properties, on the natural environment, including slopes, vegetation, wetlands, groundwater, water bodies, and stormwater runoff. So, again, we've been to the Conservation Commission. They've essentially approved the project with the fences for the wetland, which we've shown on the plans that were submitted there. And so we believe that the protection provided by Conservation Commission approvals and the building contractor will protect the wetland that's across the street. Impact of scale, siting, and mass on the neighborhood visual character, including views, vistas, and streetscapes. So one of the things about this property is that the next property south is a motel with, it's condominium now, with 2 buildings. Each of the buildings is taller than this building, will be, and each one's over 100 feet in length. So we think that, considering it's all part of the same neighborhood, we're a little bigger than most of the single-family homes, but we think we fit in the fabric of the neighborhood. And again, as I pointed out on the previous hearing, the building from first floor to ridge is 21 feet high. And the architect's use of traditional design ensures that the impact on the neighborhood visual character will be a positive one and is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing use. The compatibility is a single-family use in a single-family neighborhood. It's going to have a new Title V system with nitrogen-reducing component that has to be approved by the Board of Health, as Judy had noted in her report. No impact on traffic flow and safety, no impact on noise and litter. Adequacy of utilities are fine. And then with regard to expansion, the extent of lateral expansion proposed and the extent to which lateral expansion impacts the impervious area on the site. Well, it increases it, but, one of the things about increasing the size of the roof is that, they control the stormwater runoff, so it gets recharged into the ground because they have drains that go to dry wells. So we don't think that there's a significant difference. If the concern relates to stormwater, again, to remind you that, this is an area that would get flooded in a storm surge, like a hurricane or a northeaster in the wintertime. And and so it comes in with the tide and goes out with the tide. So the size of the house really doesn't have any effect on the floodwater or the height of the floodwater. So that would be our presentation.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody here on Microsoft Teams that wishes to speak in favor? In favor only? No. I will read the correspondences. I think I already read them all, but they're the same that I've read for 47. Are you comfortable, Mr. Riley, with me just stating that? I already
Sure.
read them for 47. I will reiterate that they were 2 in favor from the Chigas and the Lonegans, and they have Little Beach Road addresses, I believe, if I remember right. And also, we have a note from the Conservation Commission saying that they will ultimately condition this. And the Health Department, has given her statements, and that's all fixable, doable.
Right.
And then the Historic has said that they aren't going to delay it. So
Right.
there's that. Now, is there anybody here or on Microsoft Teams that wishes to speak against or has a question? And we have somebody coming to the microphone now. Just state your name and address.
Ryan Phillips, 374 Orleans Road. I think we just did this. So to me, this is historic. It was put in before all these laws were allowed, and now it's in a flood zone. You can't build in a flood zone. I'm really concerned, again, with the precedent of increasing lot coverage in a flood zone, because when it does flood, it makes it so the land can't mitigate the floods as well.
Well-
And if it's a slippery slope, 50 feet here, and it's doubling the lot coverage, 14 feet here, and if everyone does it, it then becomes a problem. I guess 50 feet here, not a big deal, but when everyone does it, it does become a problem, and we need to take that in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have a question or wishes to speak against, either on Teams or here? I don't see any. Mr. Riley, would you like to?
Well, let's restate what I mentioned before. A lot of the language relating to flooding and the size of buildings really relates to riverine flooding. Because, rivers, streams, they have a force and a direction. Here, this is an A zone. So it's called the still water flood zone. So no big waves, no strong currents. The water comes in with a storm surge and leaves when the tide goes out. So the size of this house has no impact whatsoever on the height of the storm surge. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And questions from the board? Mr. Veach, any questions?
Not at this time.
No? Ed, questions?
No questions.
Mr. Nixon, questions?
None.
And Lee?
No questions.
Steve?
I was going to ask a question the last time and I forgot, but I don't see any mechanicals called out here, generator, air conditioning. Where is that going to be hung off the side of the building somehow, or where is that going to be?
I'm not aware that if they're not on there, that's the plan we submitted.
Okay.
One moment, Sarah's investigating.
There is a mechanical room labeled on the basement plan, but I didn't see any exterior units shown on the site plan.
Yeah, none.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Steve?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Any questions?
No questions.
No questions? Oh, okay, let's close the hearing and move to deliberations then, Ginny.
So moved.
Mr. Veach, second?
Sorry.
Anybody yes?
Second, and I vote yes.
Ed votes yes.
Yes.
Ginny?
Yes.
As do I. Okay, now we're going to do deliberations, and we're going to start with Dave Veach.
Well, once again, I think this design is vastly superior to some of what we've seen, and even a few that got by us. This one actually is, relative to the existing, is only about 4.5 feet higher than the existing ridge. So I think visually, in that regard, it's a little closer to what's already there. I'm not sure, I mean, we're close to doubling the footprint. And that's, but the numbers at least that were presented in the ad, it's a 1,354 square foot increase in footprint over an existing 1,419 square feet. So that's fairly significant. That said, I'm not sure if with respect to the site, it's really would really stand out. As Mr. Riley pointed out, when look down to the south and see the old motel or barracks building or whatever it was, is significantly larger. There really isn't anything else around it other than 47. And so it might be that visually it's not going to be a shock. I'm really I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I do feel that at least I don't share the same visual concerns that Dave has expressed. And I know and some of these were expressed with some of the previous proposals, which were not as well designed as this. But I think that there are times and settings where having like these two houses, where they are and how they're located, to have this be 4 feet higher to the ridge, when it's all said and done, and larger, when it's all said and done, I'm not sure it's not gonna blend in. So that's my take on it.
Ginny, deliberations.
Well, in addition to height, which I didn't actually love on the last one, but I got okay with it because I think of the scale of that. This one is too much mass. The scale is much larger, and I'm not comfortable with it. I think it is an intensification of the nonconformity in the floodplain. I mean, Dave said it, it's 1354 square feet increase. It's 95% increase from what's there today. That is almost the doubling. And so I think the homeowner's questions about summarizing, it would be for me, height, mass, and building coverage in a floodplain would be my concerns.
Yep, okay, Steve.
Well, again, I like the design of this house, the same as I did for the previous one. It is quite a bit larger, but this seems like this is going to be the main house and compound of the two houses. You know, we talk about massing, but there's nothing to the east or south, north of this, I guess. So that it's not really, I think, detrimental to any neighbors. You know, and it is sort of built into a dune. And if years ago, if we didn't have all the flood regulations and we built the house on top of the dune, it would be about the same height as what's being proposed here. So I don't think I have an issue with this.
Okay, Mr. Nixon, tell us about your issue.
Well, this is a triple whammy for me, not only the height, but also the massing, as Ms. Fenwick just said. It's doubling in size, and there's nothing else.
Ed?
I have to agree, I have a little bit of an issue with the massing as well. But the fact that the two properties are owned by the same owner, and the architecture is going to be similar, I think would allow me to give a little bit of leeway, on the massing, but I think a reduction in the massing may help. The height, as in the other project, I'm okay with height.
And Lee?
Well, I agree with my colleagues regarding the massing. I think what helps 47 is the fact that it's a very small house. And I think that would be visually much more acceptable. The 53 is, once again, really nice design, but it's I think too big, and not height-wise, but too big massing-wise.
Mr. Riley, what do you think?
Waiting to hear from you, Madam
All right,
Chair.
well, yep, so the living space is doubled, the coverage is essentially doubled, and so I doubled down on my opinion of it compared to the other one. I just think it's too much mass as well, too much for that spot. I wish they were both essentially like 47. That would be kind of nice.
I would ask to continue to the same date as the previous meeting.
We're not gonna be able to do that. Maybe we could reconsider and take them both to a different day, further down the line. That's maybe a possibility.
So right now, I'm just gonna let you know, Mr. Riley, with yours, that 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. 47 Little Beach is the 7th application on September 25th. Otherwise, I'm scheduling for October 23rd or November 6th. That's the earliest that you can be placed on an agenda.
Take the October date, please.
October 23rd?
Okay, October 23rd. Do you want them both on that day, or?
Yes, please.
Yeah? So we'll go back and we'll fix the other one in a moment. Let's just do this one and then we'll,
Okay,
Okay.
so I move to approve the request for continuance for application 25063 to October 23rd, 2025.
very good.
Dave Each seconds and votes yes.
Ed votes yes.
I vote yes.
Ginny votes yes.
As do I. Okay. So now we're going to go back.
So reopening application 25-062, Monomoy Rips LLC for 47 Little Beach Road, to allow for the continuance rather than being on September 25th. Attorney Riley would like them both on the same agenda, so that would be to October 23rd, 2025.
Ginny, so moved?
So moved.
Dave Each seconds and votes yes.
Ed votes yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
That appears to conclude our meeting for today. And how about a motion to adjourn?
I move to close the hearing.
No, just to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Dave Each seconds and votes yes.
Wait, wait, wait.
Ed votes yes.
Oh, what?
Did everyone vote on the continuance to October 23rd for 47 Little Beach? Because you need to do so. Each individual roll call vote.
Oh, we didn't do that? I'm sorry. Okay, so let's go back and do that. So,
All right, so I move to request for continuance of application 25062 to October 23rd, 2025.
Dave Each seconds and votes yes.
Ed votes yes.
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 and yes. Okay, that's officially done. Now we can move to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Dave Each seconds and votes yes.
Everybody?
Yes.
Aye.
One at a time.
Yes.
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 Lee?
Yes.
Yes.
And as do I. And what time is it?
4:41 PM.
Very good. Good night, Chatham. Good.